Good evening and welcome to the Gothic Bohemian Salon. The Gothic question of the week is if the Gothic subculture, or if being goth was only about fashion that maybe came from a musical style. So I guess that means if it was only about fashion and music, would you still be a goth? I think I've interpreted the question correctly, I hope. I'm sort of interpreting it in the sense of more if the Gothic subculture was just about dressing up and looking a certain way, would I still be a goth? Would I still be interested in it? Well, clothes are very important to me. I am really into clothes, and I love dressing up. So, dressing up in fashion, not regular fashion, unusual fashion, is a big part of my life. So, if being a goth were just about something that I guess is supposed to be inherently superficial fashion, I guess I would still be a goth. Now, the thing is, though, for me, fashion isn't superficial. I enjoy dressing to alarm and shock, but not in the typical manner. I don't, for example, wear overtly sexy things. I don't have multiple facial piercings or huge stretched out earlobes or tattoos on my face, or not yet. Being a Gothic Bohemian, as I am, has a lot to do with fashion. Or it has a lot to do with dress. And the magic of dress. You can say a lot with your style and your fashion, your dress. You can... Dress has been... Okay, fashion is sort of treated like this, lesser art form than, say, something like painting or writing or drawing or, even music. Fashion is looked at as being superficial. I don't find it to be so. I feel that you can say as much with clothing as you can say in a poem. You can set a mood with an outfit. You can tell a story with your clothes. At least I always do. My head makes up a name for my outfit generally. Things like Dead Cinderella or Lady Lyndon in mourning, or just things like that. And there's a lot more to what I choose to put on and leave the house, and there's a lot of thought put behind it. So it's very serious for me. And if goth were only about music and fashion, that would probably be enough for me. Actually, if it was just about fashion, that would be enough for me. I find fashion to be a very serious art form. And I guess I'd encourage you to look at people like Alexander McQueen or Jean-Paul Gaultier, Terry Mugler, people like that. They're haute couture, the Japanese designers, Yohji Yamamoto. There's other ones. I don't know all the names. I'm not as up on them as I should be. I'm more into the London guys. But look at something like McQueen's Widows of Culloden. I think it's Culloden. I think you can watch that on YouTube. And tell me that he's not telling a story with those clothes. There's something going on there. There's a fairy tale that's being woven, a story that's being told. And the greatest designers know that and do that. Dress is much, much more than a dress. And since we have all this fashion history to pull from and turn black or dark, there's a great deal of magic that we can weave with our clothes. The corseted silhouette, the bustle, the high collar, the parasol, the widow's veil, the top hat, all these things that become very common clothing in Gothic fashion, and even things like Elizabethan ruffs and 18th century clothes and engagements and really very elaborate, beautiful, beautiful things. And I think they say more than maybe people give them credit for. So the question wasn't, is fashion serious or an art form, but I think that it's sort of a necessary consideration to look at that if you're going to look at whether fashion is enough to sustain a Gothic lifestyle, let's say. And I think it is enough. It's enough for me. Now, style in one's surroundings was mentioned, and I wanted to talk about that a little bit. There is fashion in home decor as well as there is in clothing. Right now we've got all this Gothic furniture and silverware made out of bones and things made out of skulls and a lot of things that are pretty spooky that you can get for your house, and that's in fashion right now. So I'm not sure you can separate clothing fashion from home decorating fashion. So it kind of opens the whole thing up, I guess, to a lifestyle. And if you're going to dress up in the kind of things that I'm thinking about, then you're definitely living a lifestyle. There's no way that you can just put on the kind of clothes that I'm thinking about and not have something deeper going on with you. I don't think so anyway. I think you have to have fairly deep thought and be able to, in order to be able to put things together successfully that look striking and complete and not cheap and things that evoke a Gothic sensibility, you need to have a good eye. You need to have an artistic sense. So it's an art form, wearing clothes. Wearing clothes is an art form. Collecting clothes is an art form. It's an expression. Makeup is an expression as well, and that's part of fashion too. And you might as well paint a canvas on yourself, because that's basically what you're doing. So if fashion is an art form, then it's quite serious, and it's serious enough to sustain a subculture. And that's my answer to the question. So I hope you've enjoyed seeing a little bit more of my living space and hearing my opinion on this question. I encourage you to look at the work of Alexander McQueen, Jean-Paul Gaultier, Terry Mugler, darn, I always forget this last guy, John Galliano, there you go, John Galliano, even Christian Louboutin shoes are works of art, and I encourage you to look at them. There's a lot of people on Pinterest that put a lot of really beautiful clothing on Pinterest, and I challenge you to find to not find beauty and art within these incredible fashions, these incredible works of art. So enjoy. Thank you for joining me in the Gothic Bohemian Salon. Literally, this is the salon. Have a really lovely evening.